Hello there. Learn JavaScript with me from zero. So, we'll be starting. JavaScript is one of the most important programming languages because it powers interactive websites and web applications. Key message here. We are beginning something where we'll be learning web programming, interactive websites, and modern website development. So then we ask ourselves, why JavaScript? JavaScript is very valuable because all major browsers support JavaScript, be it Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Safari. This means users do not need to install anything extra. It powers many technologies. JavaScript is used for website, mobile apps, games, servers, AI tools, desktop apps, and it's a popular language. It has been the most used programming languages for years because of the huge community, the many jobs, and the large ecosystem. One language everywhere. JavaScript is used for front-end, back-end, API, and even automation. I'll come to the third slide where we'll say we'll be writing our first line of code. Just like that, you print something. Explanation. The console log here. The console log prints information on the browser console. And the purpose, this is usually the first program for beginners. So this is our first program we will write. Important concept here. The hello world is a string and the console log displays the output. So that's just an explanation of what JavaScript is. Now, when we come to our slide number 4, variables. The let, const, and the var age variable. The let used when the value might change later, and the const used when value are constant. Var are always. Modern JavaScript prefers the let and the const. For best practices, use const for default value and let if value changes. And these variables are used to store something. It's like a container where you store something inside it and it has a name, a variable name. This is how you declare a variable in JavaScript. Now, to our fifth slide, where we'll be talking about the data types in JavaScript. JavaScript stores different types of data. The first is the string data type, and this string data type is always textual values. The Boolean data type. Before we go to the Boolean, let us look at the numbers data type. There are two types of numbers data type. We have the integer data type and the float data type. The third is the Boolean data type. The Boolean data type is either represent logic, the yes or no, or the off and or logic. The 0 and 1s, which means it's the true and false. Now, the null data types. Intentional empty value is something is empty, it's a null data type. And divine. This means variable exists but has no value yet. Then the object key value. This shows grouped data. The last is the array. It's used to show list of items. And those are the data types in JavaScript. The operators in JavaScript. Operators are used to perform actions in JavaScript. The first operator are the arithmetic operators, which you have the plus, the minus, the multiplication, the division, and the modulus. We also have the comparison operators, the equal to, the greater, and the less than. For example, if we say 5 is greater than 3, we'll use this operator to show that 5 is greater than 3. Now we have logical operators, and these logical operators are used in conditions. For example, and many of the condition, you have the AND logical, the OR, and the NOT logical operators. There are 3 logical operators: the AND, the OR, and the logic and the NOT. True and false is a condition. We can use true and false as a condition. Now, we have the assignment operator. Now, these are used to assign values. The equal, the plus equal, and the minus equal. This can be expanded further. 2 plus 2 equal 4. This is true. We come to our slide number 7, where we'll be talking about strings. Now, what are strings? From the code given above, let greetings hello. So string are textual values. Now, here we have used template returns and backticks. Now, they allow us to insert variables into a string. The $sign used to inject values. Now, why are they useful? They make text formatting easier and cleaner. Now, we'll be coding after this, so let's just have a brief description and an explanation of what JavaScript entails and what it contains. Text slide number 8, conditions. Conditions allow decisions. Conditionals allow for these decisions to be made. For example, if you have the if condition, this is the first condition in this code. Then we have the else if. That's an additional check condition. And the last else, which is a fallback. This is the first condition. This is an additional check condition that checks if age is greater than 13 and prints if that person is 13. And the last is the fallback, which has no condition to be met. In real world example, conditions are used to make login system, age checks, even game rules are used. Conditions are used to make game rules. Now, an important thing you should know that here, age is if it's greater than 18, then you can use something. You can use equal to here, and also you should know if greater than or equal to means 18, anything 18, even if something is equal to 18, so greater than or equal to 13. Now, to slide number 9, we will be talking about loops. Loops repeats task automatically. For example, in this code, for let I equals to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. Console log print I. Now, the meaning is it will start at 0. We are starting at 0, so I is 0. Continue while less than 5. You continue up to 4, increasing by 1 each time. The same to the while loop. The while loop runs while a condition is true. So we have to find there need to be a condition here. So for the count to run, while count is less than 10, while loops matter and they are very useful for repeating tasks, working with arrays and automations. These while loops are very important for those kind of work, automation, repeating tasks, and working with arrays. When we come to a slide number 10, where we're talking about functions. Now, what are functions? Functions are reusable blocks of code. Very simple explanation. A block of code can be reused, and that block of code, we call it a function. Input. Name is a parameter here. Function greet, this is the function name. Greet is the function name, and the name inside here is the function parameter. Now, return. Function send back the output using return. For a function to send out an output, it uses return. Now, and here we are calling the function. This is called function calling. Greet adder. And the benefit of functions is to avoid repeating code. Now, arrows function. Now, arrows function, these are modern shorter function syntax. Now, const add equals a plus b, function arrow. Now, benefits of this, they are short, cleaner, and common in React and modern JavaScript. N times n, const square n function, n times n. This allows less typing, and since they are very short. Come to the slide number 12, where we will be talking about arrays. Arrays are stored ordered collection. This is a collection of an array. Now, from the first, fruits 0, our index in an array starts from 0 to 1 to 2. Since it returns apple, fruit 0 returns apple, so 0 is the index, and this is how it's done. It's used to list users, and this push is used to add an item in the array. And fruit length used to determine the length of that array. And arrays are used in cases of list of users, products, and even scores to show marks in a game even. Array methods. Powerful built-in array tools. We have the map, which is used to transform items. And for example, N2, this is a map, and it has transformed our item into by multiplying each by 2. The filter, which is another array method. And methods are built in. You should know that. It keeps matching items. And in here, the function in this method is n to be greater than 2. It goes through the array and find numbers that are greater than 2. Now the reduce function. It combines value into one result. And that's it. It has combined value into one result. Now, let's go. A very important thing you need to know about array methods. They are heavily used in React and in data processing and APIs. Number 14, where we'll be talking about objects. Objects store structural data. That's the first thing. It's used to store structural data or label data. Now, for us to assess projects, username here. This is used to assess a project. Methods. Objects can contain functions. That's the thing you need to know. Objects can contain functions. And greet is a function called greet, and it returns this name. This is used to refer to the current object here. This is used to refer to the current object. I'm going fast because of time. Now we're talking about slide number 15, the DOM, Document Object Model. JavaScript can control web page elements. So for us to make a web page element, or for us to make a web page interactive, we need to control these elements. This is used to select document.querySelector, HI, text content. Now we have selected what we want. Now the next thing, we can change the text in this hi. So we have selected document query selector hi, text content to be hi. We have changed the text content there. That's one of the things you can do in the DOM. You can change the text content. The second thing, you can add event listener. You can add an event listener. By adding an event listener, we get the element by ID, the ID that we use on our HTML. And the event listener here is click, and it will alert us when clicked. What this means, it runs code when the user clicks. And why this is important? These create buttons, interactive apps, and dynamic websites. Asynchronous JavaScript. Some tasks take time. That's the thing we need to know. Some tasks usually take time. And this asynchronous JavaScript is used to fetching data, reading files, and API calls, especially the ones that take time. JavaScript handles them asynchronously, and using async, it marks an asynchronous function. Then we have await. Await waits for a promise to finish. Await waits for a promise to finish. An example, const res await, fetch API to user. The benefit of this is freezing the application. Here, it freezes the application and it waits for the promise to be finished. Now, this is very helpful. It prevents freezing the application. It prevents the application from being frozen. Use await so that a lot of when you have a task that takes some time, we use this. Now we come to slide number 17, home or exercises. Now we have finished. All we need to know is a simple explanation of what we need to know about JavaScript. There's no need for you to read a lot of books or what. You can just look at the following and listen to the following explanation. I'll be telling you, it's a detailed explanation. Now, what we're going to do after this, we are going to code. And when we're coding, we're going to be coding slow by slowly, and I want you to follow my steps. Follow me while I'm learning also. I'm learning also how to code, so follow me step by step as you learn how to code and build website using JavaScript. Now, the practice question, exercise 1. Find the largest number of an array. Now, just tell me what we are going to use here. The first thing, I think we are going to use loops. And then we're going to use comparisons. For we have learned loops and we have learned comparisons. The second question, build a counter that logs 1 to 100 but skips multiples of 3. Now, this also, we are going to use conditions to make sure the counter skips, and then loops, but it loops to 100. The third exercise, make an object representing a book, then print the title. Now here we have learned about objects and how objects are used to store information, large quantities of information, I might say. Now, the fourth exercise, reverse string manually. Now we have to reverse this string manually. And what we are going to use is string manipulation and maybe an algorithm. I will show you this code and I will post it after this video. Now, at 18, what we learn next? Of course, the roadmaps. After we have learned the basics, now after we have finished with the basics of what JavaScript is. In a few minutes, you'll be able to learn what JavaScript, the basics of JavaScript. If you have learned any other programming languages, it will be very easy to learn. But if it's your first time learning programming, I advise you to go and start learning HTML first and CSS before JavaScript. But if you know HTML and CSS, this tutorial will be very easy for you. Now, the roadmap. ES6 Plus and its features. These are modern JavaScript features where we'll be looking at the spread operator, distracting, and the modules. Promises, advanced asynchronous programming. They are called promises, advanced asynchronous programming. Frameworks, I'll be teaching you couples of frameworks and even sharing notes for you and codes for you. The first will be do React, Vue, and even Angular JS. Thirdly, and maybe most frameworks are used for front-end apps. Modern front-end apps are uses frameworks. React is used in Facebook. All these frameworks are used in modern apps. Building projects. Now, in building our projects, for Node.js is used for the servers, allows JavaScript on a server. The best way for us to improve and build the projects is to practice, build, and ship our projects. Now let's come to the final slide, which is the slide 19. Now, this is a summary of what we have learned today. We have learned variables, and variables are used to store data. We've learned the let and the const variable, and we've learned that the let variable is used to store data which are changing, and the const is used to store default data values which are not changing. Very important to know. Secondly, data types. The various data types that we have: the string, the number data types, Boolean data types. That's just a little amount of the data types that are there in JavaScript. Arrays used to store a list of items, or used to store a list of items. That's arrays. Objects used to store a little bit of information about something. Let loops, and you have last the document object model basics, the basics of the DOM. One thing we should know is that programming improves through building projects, repetition, practice, and consistency. And that's the end of our first lesson. So I'll advise you to keep on building projects, repeating, and practicing coding. Next, we will be coding. And through coding, this will help us, understand and learn 1 to 3 about code. So have a great coding and learning about JavaScript with me. I think we'll learn a lot.